Welcome back to... Dubai. The sun, the Burj, 10 days of relaxation. Time to switch off, soak up some... Sorry, where is Takehiro Tomiyasu? With Arsenal on a warm weather training camp, it's time we all take a breath and allow the events of a mad December and January to settle. Although there's plenty to be critical of, Arsenal have a big opportunity ahead, with only 7 games, including the Champions League, from now until the end of March. Get White and Saka back fit, and we'll hopefully have a full squad heading into the business end of things, with less football in our legs than our competitors. Until we mathematically can't do it, call me deluded, but I think there is something for us this season. It just might take until the very end to materialise. I have a lot of thoughts about things around the club right now, and I wanted to find the right format to put them all into one video. So I thought, what better time than now to do a keep, sell, loan assessment of the entire squad? Because football's that simple. Right, guys? I think the break's as good a time as any to do some individual assessments, work out where everyone is, and make my excuses. Do some analysis. TDK style, I reserve the right to invent new categories as I go. Let's jump into it. David Raya. If you cut out the first 10 games of his Arsenal career, I think Raya has been, on average, the best performing goalkeeper in the Premier League. Yes, he's helped by a stellar defence, but he's in the 90th percentile or better when compared to positional peers across the last 365 days for goals against, crosses stopped, height of defensive actions, save percentage, clean sheets, and crucially, post-shot expected goals. One of the best ways to judge a goalkeeper's shot-stopping ability, and a metric he's struggled with before. We've seen some great traditional goalkeeping from Raya. Reflexes, shot-stopping. My prediction that he'll enter the Ederson-Alisson conversation by the end of the season has absolutely come true. Just don't ask about my other predictions. Keep. Norberto Neto. No, I do actually feel a bit bad for him. See ya. Benjamin White. We have missed him a lot. Not having that runner on the right-hand side didn't help Saka for that period. It hasn't helped Martinelli, and if I'm being totally fair, it hasn't helped Sterling either. I'd love to know exactly what happened with the injury and why the surgery had to happen mid-season rather than in the summer, but hindsight, of course, is 2020. Maybe something we're underrating is if White was putting up, I would say, some of the best performances from fullback in the Premier League before his injury, and knowing he was dealing with an issue, if he's fixed that issue and he's had a rest, I think we can expect some pretty good form at the end of this season. Don't underestimate how good that pod is with Saka, Ødegaard and White. There is no replacement for natural chemistry. Keep, obviously. Next, Takehiro Tomiyasu. I made a joke about him earlier, but I genuinely hope he's okay. I think there's probably something going on that we don't know, and I'm not speculating, I just wish him all the best. But from a business and football perspective, I think this squad slot is one of the most underrated points of improvement from this season that we might have seen. And I think we could do with some communication about it when the club are able to do so. Tomiyasu could have been the solution in that Liverpool game where we're playing Miles and Kivior against Salah. 2 points. Partey at right back, asleep against Villa. 2 points. The load off Timber, Saliba, the help with no Ben White. How much could that have all helped when the margins are so thin? We'll never know. Your versatile defender being able to play anywhere and being as good as Tomiyasu is when fit is all well and good. But if he can't get on the pitch, it doesn't matter. It's wages, squad space, opportunity cost, all down the drain. Again, wish Tommy all the best. But just from a business and football perspective, there's a point of improvement here. If he comes back soon and proves his fitness till the end of the year, great. I have my doubts, but we'll talk in the summer. But if not, regrettably, sell. Jurrien Timber. Bala. What he's doing off the back of an ACL, doing 90 after 90, the way he must be looking after himself, top. Keep. Gabriel Magalhaes. Statue. Now, the most improved defender under Arteta since day one. If you have a young centre-back and you're convincing them to join Arsenal, show them a clip of Gabriel in 2020 and show them a clip of Gabriel now. It's unbelievable. Keep. Absolutely. William Saliba. It's a break, so the rumours have started about Madrid. Absolutely classic. I don't think he'll go in summer 2025. He's 23. He might have 12 to 15 years left at the top level. There's no rush, and I get the sense he's quite well advised, considering he never jumped in that period when we were farming him out on loan. He is in the best league in the world, and he will want to finish this project with Arsenal. But there's a limit, and come 25-26, I'm beginning to worry. And the reason is, with his deal expiring in summer 2027, at that point, Madrid would probably begin to push a bit harder, as they do with Trent. It would be the conversation on everyone's lips, similar to Liverpool's situation right now. This summer, Madrid won't want to pay the 100 million plus it would cost. But beyond that, the closer we get to his deal running out, they'll push. We need to extend now, and I want to hear something soon. 2-year extension, pay him what he wants, bump up the wages, because he probably won't see out that contract. Lots of bonuses and perks. Make it clear we won't stand in his way if he needs to leave. That's fine. But we want a good fee if he does go. I don't get the sense he'd do anything stupid to force a move, and I actually think he probably would try and help us. But I also don't think he's wedded to us. Generally, to get moves to happen, players might have to run down their contracts. We might have to get used to that. And by the way, if he does put on that white shirt, the moment it happens, he'll be considered the best defender in the world. So, enjoy that. Keep and extend if we can. Ricardo Calafiori. Tough start for him. I do love this player. I love his calm. He's a proper Arteta defender. But he has a problem. Miles and Gabriel exist. Things change quickly in football, and I think he'll be all right here. But if a 50 or 60 million pound bid came in next summer from our mates at Madrid or Juventus, who we know had a look at him, we'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look. Keep, but one eye open. Jakub Kiwior. George on the Cannon Podcast came up with the perfect way of looking at players like Kiwior, and I want to present it here with a TDK special. You have a triangle for bench players like this. Quality, availability, and happiness. And for players like Kiwior, Marino, universally considered squad players, you will never get all three. If he's top quality and always available, he wouldn't stick around. If he's always available and happy to stick around, he probably isn't top quality. If he's top quality and happy to stick around, I guarantee he isn't available enough. Kiwior fits in, available, happy I think, but probably not absolutely top quality. And that's fine. If Gabriel or Miles had a short-term injury, I have no problem putting Kiwior in. He might have to move on at some point, but let's not rush away trying to find this mythical perfect player who fulfills all three of those things. You won't find it for a player who plays as much as he does. Pick your problems, and Kiwior, for a squad player, is pretty good. Keep. Kieran Tierney. Pretty simple. Time he went, and he is. Team moved away from him. It happens. Sell or go. Alexander Zinchenko. It's time to go! Depends what happens with Kiwior, Miles and Calafiori, etc. I just think there's a place in this squad for a left-sided Ben White, and I think he's taking up that squad space with his wages. For me, sell. Best for all parties, with best wishes. Miles Lewis Skelly. One of the biggest positives from this season is finding this absolute gem of a young man, who eventually, in my view, will be a midfielder. But let's not rush. There's been comments, as we know, from a few prominent people around his celebration, with, to me, and probably many out there, potentially concerning undertones. There's echoes of what's happened before with other young English black players like Raheem Sterling, and I don't like it. I don't feel qualified to talk with authority about this kind of stuff. I offer my support when needed and amplify voices that do know more about this than I do, but I'm noticing the patterns. While I will always contest saying the media when you mean Jason Cundy, just say his name. And on that, we need to be careful of creating this self-fulfilling us versus everyone else narrative by reading Arsenal news, being on Arsenal group chats, talking to our Arsenal supporting mates, then acting shocked when everything seems to be against Arsenal. This matter is serious. And if this continues, I'll speak up and I encourage you to as well. However, Miles is the real story here. And my answer is to promote Miles and ignore the idiots. Keep, obviously, and extend. Jorginho. This depends on Zubamendi, but I think it's probably time to fill that slot with some fresh legs. If he wants to stick around and start his coaching journey at Arsenal, great. But if the Zubamendi thing doesn't happen and we pour more resources further forward, one more year, I could probably get on board with that. But most likely when the contract ends, let him go. Thomas Partey. Partey has been brilliant for large parts of this season. In possession, his bravery carries us at times. When he's on it physically, his dual-winning capacity is unbelievable. And I've been incredibly impressed with his availability this year, considering what's happened in previous years. But I also can't ignore him falling asleep at the back post, costing us points. I can't ignore him not showing the intensity I want, dropping into the back line when I don't need him there. I can't ignore him slowly snapping in and out of phases of play. We go, for example, counter-press to settle play, back to counter-press, run over the shoulder, regain, retain, squeeze up. And in a sequence like that, I guarantee Partey will be almost the last person to make each shift, as his age is beginning to show. And this is why, as much as the Partey Defence League want to get on my back, I don't have an agenda. I just can't call him our best midfielder. Maybe there was a period this season, but no. Clearly, there's stuff we can't go into here. So to me, this really depends on what's happening around him in all senses, squad building and otherwise. For me, undecided. Declan Rice. He just gets better and better. I think I used to want to see him deeper, and I still kind of do. But I suppose what I really mean is I want him more involved. And if he's more involved, further up, further back, I kind of don't mind at this point. I just want him involved. Double pivot, deep receiving, up high contributing. Let him live out his best years running wherever he likes, because he is a freak athletically. Dominant Declan. On his day, no one gets near him. Keep. Ethan Nwaneri. Incredible goal return for someone his age, comparing to Yamal with far less minutes played. We look around Europe and we think, wow, wish we had a Pedri, wish we had Florian Wirtz, wish we had Musiala, but Nwaneri will soon be in that category, in my opinion. Difficult conversations coming up, because he is going to play. He has to. Where? Keep. Extend. Martin Ødegaard. I hate the narrative around this one because it's so binary. I'm actually scared, genuinely, of making a video about this because I need to, about Ødegaard's future. I've got a lot of thoughts. Even asking a question of him in a title a few months ago prompted some insane responses, despite the video literally concluding, I want him in the team. The internet, eh? I've been fully on Ødegaard's team for a long, long time. I love him. Top class player. Brilliant. World class even. But being world class doesn't necessarily make you right for where a team is going to go. Erling Haaland's world class, but I don't think our current setup would play to his strengths. If Zubamendi's coming in, he will dictate those deep zones. If Rice is in the team, he dominates the middle. And it leaves Ødegaard having to be pushed further up to get him as many touches as he needs, I think, to have influence. Also confirmed by a recent quote from Arteta to Spanish TV. And that leaves me with questions. Even if Zubamendi doesn't come in, I still think we need more from that attacking midfield position. More zip, more bite, more dribble, more power, more force. And that's not really who Ødegaard is. I just don't love Ødegaard closer to goal in possession that much. I don't think he has the elite ball striking quality, certainly not off both feet. I think his final ball is a bit angle biased. I think he's a bit too easily physically bullied in the middle. I think he limits us in transition. And I think his best work comes dropping out of the block. But equally, he is the heartbeat of this team and we look worse without him. He leads our out of possession work. He's right up there in terms of chance creation. He's allowed a period of bad form. He's still young. He's our captain. Players can change and develop and so on and so on. My point is, I don't know. My heart wants me to sit here in a year's time with Martin Ødegaard having lifted a Premier League and the Champions League and be hoping for another one this season. But my head just doesn't know how that happens. Not saying it doesn't, just I don't know. I don't have the answer. Keep, for sure. But let's see. God, I'm dreading that video. Mikel Merino. Back to George's Triangle. Merino is Kivior. Again, happy to stay, but he's probably not top quality. And that is literally fine. If we have Zubamendi, Ødegaard, Miles, Declan, Ethan, possibly another even, the Partey replacement maybe, he won't play much, and I think he'll be okay with that. Merino right now is a £30 million signing who I think is playing like a £20 million signing. He can get better, but you get what you pay for. A little limited in possession, a little bit slow, but he's absolutely serviceable. And I think a little bit underrated by fans who were expecting Musiala. We paid £30 million. That's what we got. For me, keep. Bukayo Saka. And I need you, do-do-do-do-do-do. And I miss you, do-do-do-do-do-do. God, I miss that man. Keep. Gabriel Jesus. We won't be able to sell him due to the ACL. So, if he becomes our versatile 5th or 6th attacker who's available from September, October time this year, I think that's okay. The writing was on the wall for him. I think it was time to move on this summer. But with his injury, and with his prospects elsewhere probably being downward steps, I wouldn't be surprised if he hung around a touch longer than some might expect. Maybe seeing out his contract. He's not a bad player to have as a 4th or 5th sub. Keep, but review as we go. Gabriel Martinelli. I think this one is all dependent on who's out there and what we do around him. We could go all in on Project Martinelli. Sign him an overlapping fullback, get that midfielder out there, get him inside, readdress the balance of how much the ball goes to the right when Saka's in the team, all that stuff. I actually don't disagree with the guys who would say Martinelli hasn't been supported. And if you look at things like this, the open play pass expected threat numbers broken down by zone, and see he is the most threatening passer in the box in the league, you begin to make a cogent case that Martinelli's issue is he's stuck out wide. So get him inside, he'll thrive. But here's the thing. You can't platform everyone in your team to 100%. Not everyone can be in their favourite zone doing their favourite thing at all times. Someone has to lose. If we want the midfielder out wide, that's Declan Rice right now. You want him out the middle? And if we want the fullback out wide, that's Miles right now. You want Miles out the middle? And you get to a point where you have to choose who you platform. I think Mikel has made a decision. It isn't Martinelli. He will be my guy putting in good crosses. I'll have him out wide, making those huge recovery runs, which he's more than capable of doing. Putting in a brilliant defensive shift. Great. He'll get into good positions when he can on the last shoulder. He'll score some goals, but we're not going to run the team through him. And honestly, I can't disagree. I guess fundamentally, I've just fallen out of love with the talent a little bit. Maybe that's unfair, but he can't beat his man these days. I don't see anything physically special right now. I just think for teams trying to win the top honours, there's bigger talents out there. And I hope I am wrong. I would love to be wrong. Then it comes to who's out there for the left. And you could do worse than Martinelli. Is it worth spending 100 million? Don't know. I'd want someone who is more clinical with a more recent sample, someone who can get themselves from out to in on their own, someone who can shoot from distance better, beat their man more consistently. But he'd remain a decent option. And he can improve as well. If we've got Isak, that Gordon-esque connection might help getting that ball in behind to him, for example. But I think if we can get someone more suited, I think you do it. Martinelli would cook too hard for someone else to sit on the bench. And if we got a big offer and we could do it, I think you do. Keeps Leandro Trossard. I genuinely don't know. Don't know for this one. Think it depends on what happens. For me, you either get a new deal sorted for him and have him as your 5th or 6th guy, or you sell him this summer to Saudi. Stick or twist. Knowing Arsenal, we'll do neither. Depends. Kai Havertz. Interesting one. I think all the indications are that we'll move for a centre forward, so obviously that affects where Kai is going to play. But Kai is going to remain in our squad. He's too talented not to. He looks after himself well, his numbers are good, he's not everything I dream of in a centre forward, and the wages are a lot, but you need this guy in your squad somewhere. And he will be. Keep. Finally, Raheem Sterling. Right, that's your lot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Arsenal can do something this season. We're 6 points behind. Moise, you've got something for me at Goodison Park. I know you have. And Arsenal players, if you or anyone in your family or your close circle is watching in Dubai, I want to say something.
By all means enjoy it, but enjoy it by being disciplined here.
If you like The Different Knock, you can support us on Patreon monthly, or you can buy us a coffee.